This is Bharat FM.
बजेगा भारत झूमेगा भारत.
ये है भारत FM.
बजेगा भारत झूमेगा भारत.
Namaskar, Sat Sri Akal, welcome and adab. You are listening to Bharat FM, a one-of-its-kind, multilingual, eclectic provider of entertainment, information and news to Indian Americans. Headquartered in Cincinnati, Ohio, Bharat FM airs shows out of Cincinnati, Chicago and Phoenix. We take pleasure in our ability to cater to your bhakti, chusti, sfurti, shakti and masti needs with our audio and visual shows. Check out bharatfm.com for our online program schedule and archives. I'm sure the content will definitely tickle your senses. Tune in via the 24-hour web streaming on bharatfm.com or via the Bharat FM app. More information can be procured at 513-488-5070.
दोस्तों नमस्कार, आदाब, सत श्री अकाल, वड़क्कम, वेलकम. आप सभी का भारत एफएम के इस कार्यक्रम में जिसका के नाम है रूबरू में तहे दिल से स्वागत है. और मैं हूं आपका दोस्त और आपका होस्ट आशीष झा. सो फोक्स, आज का ये दिन मेरे लिए थोड़ा ज्यादा स्पेशल है क्योंकि द गेस्ट दैट वी हैव टुडे इज माय चाइल्डहुड फ्रेंड, जिसके साथ मैंने काफी वक्त बिताया है. उनके बारे में भी हम बात करेंगे when we start our interview, and you will get to know some interesting stories from our childhood days. But before I start, let me give you a brief introduction about Dr. Major Mukund Kulkarni, a boy born to lower middle class parents in the sleepy satellite town of Vashi, New Bombay. Paved his own path and secured a government merit seat at Grant Medical College. Dared to volunteer and serve in Indian Army during the Kargil War, and now competes with the managers and industry leaders in the corporate world. Every step of his life has been full of innovation, sometimes even disruption. He has always challenged the status quo to bring in new and better solutions. He believes there is nothing that can be learned and that change is the only constant in life. और एक और बात दोस्तों, मुझे मुकुंद के बारे में एक चीज बहुत अच्छी तरह से याद है. हमारे पूरे क्लास में आई थिंक बेस्ट हैंडराइटिंग मुकुंद की थी. But let's go ahead and let's welcome Mukund Kulkarni. Hi, Mukund.
Hello. Hi, Ashish. Hello, everybody.
So first of all, thank you, Mukund, for coming on our show, Rubaru, and sharing your life journey with all of us over here from folks all around the globe. And another thing is that we are live on radio as well. So if there is somebody who cannot see us talking, they can hear us as well. So thanks for coming and sharing your story.
Fantastic, Ashish. It's my pleasure to be here, in fact. Thank you so much.
दोस्त, हम शुरू से शुरू करते हैं. क्या बोलते हो?
Yes, right from day one.
Yeah, so tell us a little bit about your where were you born और बचपन कैसे बीता?
Yeah, sure. So, from the background perspective, मेरे parents कर्नाटका से हैं. So we are originally Kannadigas, though my surname is Kulkarni and most people think we are Maharashtrians, but हम लोग actually originally कर्नाटक से हैं. So I was born in Karnataka, in the northern side of Karnataka, but because my father was working here in Bombay, New Bombay, in fact. So since my day one, I've been in Navi Mumbai. In fact, Vashi, as you introduced, that was the place where I started my life journey from. And yeah, grew up there. I still have my roots there. अभी भी हमारा घर है वाशी में. My mother stays there. My elder brother stays there. Unfortunately, I lost my father a couple of years back, but yeah, so we still go back and enjoy this. That's where my roots started.
Now, as a kid, I have known you for like 4 years when I was in school and then the 2 years in the college. तो मुझे तो थोड़ा बहुत आइडिया है कि what kind of kid you were and what were you into from extracurricular perspective and in general your dreams. थोड़ा बहुत आइडिया है. But for our audience, let's talk a little bit about what kind of kid you were and what were your dreams growing up.
Sure. So I think one of the life lessons for me through my own experiences has been I was actually an introvert kind of kid. very reserved, used to make very limited friends after a lot of interactions and kind of validation, I would say, कि भाई ये मेरा दोस्त बन सकता है, उसके वो चेक बॉक्सेस होते थे, उसके बाद हम ये सर्टिफाई करते थे कि ये मेरा दोस्त बन गया, और एक बार बन गया तो लाइफ टाइम के लिए बन गया, kind of thing. I was very good at art. I think your great memory, Ashish. You rightly remembered. I think I had one of the best handwritings in my class. I did win certain awards for handwriting. I
I
still
know.
have that award, kind of thing.
I
So
specifically remember about you, that part about you for sure. Yeah.
yeah, I was good at drawing. I was good at singing also. My mother was also a Hindustani classical singer, so kind of picked up certain learnings from her as well, kind of thing. So art side में kind of little better than average, I would say. Academics में also I was little better than average, but social skills में I was reserved, as I said. Grew up, amongst high competition, I would say, क्योंकि वाशी ऐसी जगह थी जहाँ पे it was not connected to Mumbai, it was isolated, but इतना भी दूर नहीं था. We still used to have a lot of influence, so we used to compete against. एक ही school था, तो everybody was default into that school, and we used to meet in the school, outside the school. तो थोड़ा बहुत competition environment था. I used to not like competing. I used to love my own space and do a lot of creative things there. But yeah, those things changed afterwards. I'll come to that later. But yeah, that is what a shy kind of introvert, but talented, beyond average kind of kid. That was my childhood.
And what were your dreams like? Like होता है ना बचपन में डेली बेसिस पे अपने सपने बदलते रहते हैं. So what were your dreams?
अब कुछ हद तक तो पेरेंट्स ने दिमाग में डाल के रखा था कि आपको डॉक्टर बनना है, बट उससे पहले बचपन में मैं ऐसे तब तो कुछ भी समझ में नहीं आता था. आई रिमेम्बर एक बार कभी तो आरएसएस की कोई ड्रिल हुई थी, तो एक पुलिस इंस्पेक्टर हमारे घर पे आए थे. उनकी पर्सनालिटी देखकर मैं इतना इन्फ्लुएंस हो गया था, मैं सारी दुनिया को बता दिया कि मैं पुलिस में जाऊंगा. मुझे यूनिफॉर्म पहनना है. मतलब वो पुलिस करके पता नहीं था, बट यस, आई वांट टू वेयर अ यूनिफॉर्म. सो आई older, the people generation before us still remember, "Arey, so you wanted to become a police inspector."
Oh,
I
okay.
became an army officer. That's a different thing. But then, yeah, I mean, that was my so-called impromptu dream, where medicine was one thing which always was kind of there in my mind in the background, but not really as a dream kind of thing. Engineering bhi beech mein aa gaya tha. I remember I was good in carpentry also, so my father said, "Why don't you start looking at a career in mechanical engineering? Maybe you'll do much better. Masculine भी हो थोड़ा बहुत, ये भी है, personality भी है." मतलब उन दिनों में यही होता था, तो ऐसे सोच तो frankly speaking, I didn't have a single dream. I had 3 or 4 tracks running in my mind parallelly, and ultimately I landed up into medicine.
Now, as you mentioned that you were better than average on the art side as well.
Yeah.
Did that ever come to your head कि यार ये arts related भी मैं कुछ career बना सकता हूँ?
Frankly speaking, even आज मैं सोचता हूँ कि probably I would have been an artist. I would have been uh, probably more closer to my natural personality or skills, I
That,
would say. But उन दिनों में वो प्रोफेशन बनाना, and especially like from the background we came in, it's not sustainable. वो मतलब वो काफी cover ups थे उसके ऊपर, तो yeah, it has still not got exposed, I would say.
that's what I thought. So coming back to your school and college days, after you were done with college, of course, you knew that you want to get into medicine. Tell us a little bit about your thought process after you completed your 12th and how you picked AFMC or Armed Forces to get into medicine.
Yeah. Yeah, little correction, Ashish. So, मैं 11th and 12th standard I did in modern college Vashi, and that was not a kind of standard college for people who scored better marks in 10th standard. I would say better का मतलब है 80% and above kind of thing. So generally चेंबूर जाते थे लोग, BRC में जाते थे. But I chose to go to modern because of 2 reasons. I wanted to study. I wanted to prepare for IIT in fact and medicine both. So मैं again वहाँ पे भी मेरा दोनों पैरेलल ट्रैक चल रहा था कि मैं प्री मेडिकल एंट्रेंस भी दूंगा, आईआईटी भी दूंगा, एंड देन आई डिसाइड काइंड ऑफ
Okay.
थिंग. Yeah, so modern में I studied a lot, and in fact modern के professors अभी भी याद रखते हैं. There was a batch of 6 people who were like targeted as scholar batch.
Yes.
Additional
I
training
remember
होती
that.
थी. After college hours additional हमारी training होती थी and kind of thing, and Aurora classes was another one, which so practically 12-13 hours of study every day. तो उसके बाद I was the only one from modern college who got a merit city in government medical college.
Oh, very
In
nice.
fact, Yeah, तभी cut off कुछ I remember 94% was the cut off, and I had just 1 or 2 marks more than 94%, and I got into the medicine से. तो ये काफी प्राइस सीट थी, तो अभी जब जब प्राइस देते हो देन बाकी सब थॉट प्रोसेसेस पीछे हो जाते हैं. आई कुडंट क्लिक आईआईटी, मेरा रैंक काफी पीछे था, तो देन आई डिसाइडेड टू गो फॉर मेडिसिन एज अ ग्रेजुएट. सो मैंने एक्चुअली मेरी एमबीबीएस ग्रैंड मेडिकल कॉलेज से कंप्लीट की इन
Oh, okay.
बाइकला, एंड उसके
Okay.
बाद मैंने आर्मी ज्वाइन की 99 में.
I see. Okay. So you initially
Not from AFNC.
okay. So what made you decide to go for armed forces?
Yeah, so I think 99 में कुछ अराउंड फरवरी मार्च के टाइम पर ये शुरू हो गया था कारगिल का काइंड ऑफ बैक एंड प्रिपरेशन शुरू हो गए थे. तभी एक एडवर्टाइजमेंट आता था टीवी में कॉल्ड एज डू यू हैव इट इन योर कैंपेन, and they used to run it saying, okay, if you really feel you can do something, enroll for Indian Army kind of thing. I mean, open advertisement aati thi TV pe. And we were 6 doctors actually from my college, and ऐसे हम लोग कैंटीन में चाय पी रहे थे, एडवर्टाइजमेंट देखी हमने, एंड वी सेड वी शुड डू समथिंग, मतलब बाकी सारे तो टिपिकल एक जर्नी होती है मेडिसिन करने के बाद आप इंटर्नशिप करो, फिर पोस्ट ग्रेजुएशन करो, फिर कोई कॉर्पोरेट हॉस्पिटल में जाओ. और मेरे टाइम पे तो सब यूएस चले जाते थे, तो ऑल दोस ब्रिलियंट काइंड ऑफ ब्रेन्स यूज्ड टू अपीयर फॉर एमएलई एग्जाम्स एंड गो फॉर यूएस और यूके. बट वी थॉट लेट्स डू समथिंग, लेट्स डू डिफरेंट. एंड ये आया था, तो हमको पता नहीं था कि आर्मी में डॉक्टर्स आर कमीशन्ड ऑफिसर्स और दे लाइक एक्सटर्नल कंसल्टेंट्स. हम लोगों को पता नहीं था, तो हमने थोड़ा सा रिसर्च किया, तो उसमें पता चला एक हमारे डॉक्टर थे यहीं पे मिल गए थे हम लोगों को. उन्होंने बोला था अरे तो बहुत अच्छी ऑप्शन है, व्हाई डोंट यू अप्लाई फॉर दैट. सो वी
अच्छा.
अप्लाइड, एंड आवर एप्लीकेशन वाज आल्सो दोस डेज एक प्लेन पेपर में लिख के भेज दिया टू दी डीजीएफएमएस आर्मी न्यू दिल्ली कि हम लोग 6 डॉक्टर्स मुंबई के हैं, एंड हमको पता चल गया है कि ऑपरेशन विजय शुरू हो चुका है, आप लोगों को डॉक्टर्स की जरूरत होगी, तो डू यू रियली वांट टू कंसिडर, एंड वी वुड लव टू कम. एंड फिर पता चला कि एक उसका इंटरव्यू होता है, वो शॉर्टेड एसएसबी काइंड ऑफ थिंग,
Acha.
सर्विस
Okay.
सिलेक्शन बोर्ड. So
So
we went there. Yeah.
yeah, no, I was going to ask you, was this when you were in your final year that you made this decision?
After the final year, we have something called internship. एक साल का
Correct.
practical training होती है. This was at the fag end of the internship kind of thing. उस time पे था ये.
Okay.
And yeah, so it was a very unconventional time because generally routinely वो पूरा एक structured होता था. In fact, उसके पहले साल एक entrance exam भी होती थी, फिर उसके बाद सर्विस सिलेक्शन बोर्ड, उसके बाद सिलेक्शन होता था. बट उस टाइम पे बिकॉज ऑफ ऑपरेशन विजय आई वुड से वी वर अ लिटिल लकी दैट a short fast track kind of process was there.
Oh, okay. So was this something always in your mind, or something at college or something around that time changed your thought process? What made you think that you want to do something for the country and you want to be part of Operation Vijay?
Definitely not in my mind. ये तो पता भी नहीं था, as I said, we didn't even know that doctors can be employed in defense, kind of.
Oh, I see. Okay.
हाँ, पता भी नहीं, तो ये तो था भी नहीं. But it was just like break the monotony kind of thing, break the routine ways in people do post graduation and build their medicine career kind of thing. अब ये मेरा even later work experiences, when we'll talk about that, it's always been, like I said, change is the only constant. Do it differently, do it in a don't follow the highway is
Yeah.
where we. So पता नहीं वो पर्सनालिटी में ही था कि ये नहीं करना है हमको, सब जो सब करते हैं वो हमको नहीं
कर रहे हो,
करना है,
हमको नहीं करना है, जो
हमको नहीं करना है, कुछ और करना है. और ये कहीं ना कहीं ऐसे सेट बचपन से वो एक ग्लैमर होता है कि भाई डिफेंस है या यूनिफॉर्म है, फॉर एग्जांपल, आई मीन पीपल
That's
स्टिल कॉल इट एज ऑलिव ग्रीन यूनिफॉर्म, एंड दे गेट रियली पैशनेट अबाउट दैट. तो वो दिमाग में था. सो
I
दिस इज
see.
डेफिनेटली अ बिग ऑप्शन, and why not? If I mean, हमको पता भी नहीं था हम select होंगे, by the way, because we were not that fit. We didn't have anybody from army in my family that वो culture भी नहीं था, तो हमको पता भी नहीं था हम select होंगे. तो हमने just कोशिश की कि भाई कोशिश कर लेते हैं, और हम सब select हो गए. I got selected easily, in
Oh,
fact,
good.
without much of a problem. So then I took it up seriously. Yes.
Okay. Okay. So what was the journey like before you actually started practicing in armed forces? So there was some kind of training and all that you have to go through, I believe. So tell us a little bit about that process.
Yeah, this is a very kind of the first experience in my life where everything shook, by the way. क्योंकि बोलते हैं ना, एक होता है कि कुछ अनएक्सपेक्टेड चीजें होती है, बट यहाँ तो सब कुछ ही नया था. आई मीन इट वाज लाइक एब्सोल्युटली डिफरेंट. the first posting was in Pune. There is a military hospital in Khadki called
Yeah.
Pune. But वो एक ऐसे होता है कि शुरुआत की एक स्टेप होती है बिफोर द ट्रेनिंग एलोकेशन हैपेंस एंड ट्रेनिंग एलोकेशन में थोड़ा टाइम लगता है. तो आई वाज हियर इन एमएच खड़की फॉर 2 months और 2 महीने में वी वर ट्रीटेड प्रैक्टिकली लाइक अ सिविलियन डॉक्टर ओनली बिकॉज हम लोगों को कुछ आर्मी का टर्मिनोलॉजी भी नहीं पता था, सिर्फ यूनिफॉर्म पहन के घूमते थे बस. दैट काइंड ऑफ थिंग. द
Okay.
एक्चुअल थिंग स्टार्टेड व्हेन वी गॉट इनटू द ट्रेनिंग पार्ट एंड ट्रेनिंग हमारा लखनऊ में we have Army Medical Corps Center. So
अच्छा.
every arm in Army has got a center for
अच्छा.
training. तो हमारा लखनऊ में है आर्मी मेडिकल कोर का जो है, तो हम लोग वहाँ गए. दैट वाज बिटवीन मार्च टू जुलाई, 4 months. We call it as MOBC, Medical Officer Basic Course.
Okay.
And Ashish, practically, though we are doctors, training standard uniform होता है. So we go through everything. We
Wow.
go through physicals, we go through the arms and ammunition trainings, we go through the strategy part of war, operations, peace, and we also go through our domain, which is medical casualty evacuations and all of that complete. They don't differentiate. They'll not say आप डॉक्टर हो तो आपको थोड़ा कम भागना पड़ेगा या आपको ये वेपन चलाने की जरूरत नहीं पड़ेगी तो आप मत सीखो, ऐसा नहीं है. They trained us everything. So I have practically fired every small arm in my training period. And we also go through the battle physical efficiency test, which is जैसे होता है ना प्राइमरी स्कूल वैसे होती है, तो everybody has to pass BPET, otherwise is out of army basically.
Oh, wow. So
Real tough.
I know I was about to ask you that based on your personality, how was that experience? Something that I don't know if you knew that you would have to go through that, or this was completely something that came out of nowhere. Well, if you're joining armed forces, I guess at some point in mind you knew that I'll have to do this, right?
Absolutely. So इतना जरूर पता था कि अब तो मतलब we will be kind of royally, I would say, stressed. Okay, इतना तो पता था, लेकिन कितना होगा, कैसे होगा, whether we'll do it or not. एंड ये सिर्फ मेरा माइंडसेट नहीं, आई थिंक जितने भी डॉक्टर्स वहाँ आए थे सभी का माइंडसेट फर्स्ट डे ऐसे ही था. किसी को पता नहीं था कि होने क्या वाला है आगे. इतना
Okay.
पता है कि बहुत कुछ होने वाला है, लेकिन so in fact that training curriculum is also so smart. The very initial few days you are in a very comfortable zone. आपको
Right.
बहुत कम स्ट्रेस किया जाता है. आप वॉक करो चलेगा काइंड ऑफ थिंग. आप टाइम पे ना आओ, 5-10 मिनट लेट आओ तो चलेगा. पहला हफ्ता तो इट्स लाइक यू फील दैट ओके ये तो कुछ भी नहीं, हम कर लेंगे काइंड ऑफ थिंग. मेंटल कॉन्फिडेंस, फॉल्स कॉन्फिडेंस डेवलप हो जाती है. सेकंड वीक से फिर शुरू हो जाता है कि भाई आपको 5 किलोमीटर 25 मिनट के अंदर दौड़ना है. Okay, it's a rule. I mean, if you are 25 minutes and 1 second, you are failed.
Oh, okay.
आपको वर्टिकल रोप चढ़ना ही चढ़ना है, आपको मंकी क्रॉलिंग करनी ही करनी है,
Okay.
आपको स्टीपल चेस करना ही करना है. So those
Okay.
things start from week 2 kind of thing. So yeah, the initial few weeks then was real stressful, and many of the people, and वो लोग ये भी चेक करते हैं ना आपका mental strength कितना है.
Ah,
It's not
absolutely.
only about physical strength. Physical
Yeah.
तो हम लोग फिर भी ठीक थे because we used to play a
Correct.
lot of cricket outdoor. मोबाइल
Yes.
फोन्स नहीं थे तभी, टीवी भी नहीं था, तो वी यूज्ड टू बी आउटडोर, राइट. यू रिमेंबर
Yeah.
हमारा इवन न्यू बॉम्बे स्कूल वाज वेरी पीटी पीरियड्स, तो मतलब मोस्ट सॉट आफ्टर पीरियड्स वाज
Yeah.
पीटी पीरियड काइंड ऑफ थिंग. तो फिजिकल फिटनेस का इतना चैलेंज नहीं था, बट मेंटल टफनेस, वेदर विल बी एबल टू डू दिस नॉट. तो वो धीरे धीरे आई थिंक सेकंड मंथ वी स्टार्टेड गेटिंग कंफर्टेबल, वी स्टार्टेड सीइंग सम डेवलपमेंट इंप्रूवमेंट्स इन आवरसेल्फ. तो हमने देखा कि भाई 30 मिनट्स में कर पा रहा हूँ, 25 नहीं लेकिन 30 मिनट्स में मैं दौड़ पा रहा हूँ. So that gave a big confidence because I've never run 5 kilometers in my life. Okay, and the first time I ran, हाँ मतलब वो कभी नहीं करोगे, लेकिन आप करोगे पहली बार आप, and then you realize 2-3 बार करने के बाद 30 मिनट तक पहुंच रहे हो, अब टारगेट काफी पास में है. That really motivated us and kind of.
Okay.
And you'll not believe 97 doctors in that batch, all of them passed.
Very nice.
All of them.
That's very
Nobody.
impressive. That's
All
very
of them.
impressive. So after this training, what was the next step?
So because we had joined during the Kargil War time, and ये ट्रेनिंग भी एक्चुअली कट शॉर्ट किया था. ये 6 months की ट्रेनिंग होती है, हमारा 3 महीने में इन्होंने कंप्लीट कर दिया था. एंड नो लीव्स, नथिंग. दे posted everybody on wherever it was required. So 95% of us were posted in the front where the operations were active. jail पे, mostly, yeah.
So that is where the action starts, right?
That is where the action starts. Yeah. So I was posted in a location near Jammu called Samba. It's just 40 kilometers before Jammu. and I was positioned there. But doctors का कैसे होता है? Though you're on paper attached to one unit and one location, you move around a lot because
I see.
जहाँ पर भी operations active
Networks,
होती है
yeah.
वहाँ पे भेज देते हैं.
Yeah, absolutely. Correct.
So the next 3.5 years, before 3.5 years, the next 6 months of Op Vijay was a very active period for us, where all of us were posted in almost all corners of JNK. जिधर भी चल रहा है active operations, we used to go there. We used to go with the troops, and हमारा काम था, we used to call it as triaging of casualties. So we used to classify people into red, amber, and green. Red का मतलब है इसको भी हम कुछ कर नहीं सकते हैं. Yeah, green matlab yes, very very active involvement in this is required. So we used to pick up the green ones first. Orange ones we used to hold on for some time. We created field hospitals, field advanced dressing stations. So initial few weeks of our work was establishing this, centers on the field, bunkers mein underground, and doing this kind of casualty evacuation and triaging activities, not really definitive treatment. पहले तो यही था. फिर जब थोड़ा शांत हो गया, आई थिंक थर्ड वीक फोर्थ वीक, जब ऑपरेशन थोड़ा सा कंट्रोल में आने लग गया, देन वी स्टार्टेड लुकिंग एट पेशेंट्स प्रॉपर्ली, एंड टू एंड काइंड ऑफ थिंग. कुछ सर्जरीज करनी है, कुछ वी हैव टू बिल्ड समथिंग मोर देयर, और सेंड सम पीपल बैक फॉर डेफिनेटिव ट्रीटमेंट, एयर इवैक्यूएशंस वगैरह, हाउ टू ऑर्डर दैट. सो ऑल दोस थिंग्स वी स्टार्टेड.
I see.
So
Okay.
that was real action. In fact, I still remember the very first 2 days where I was posted in one of the districts in JNK. I saw more than 68 casualties, dead
Okay.
people, dead soldiers, all Indian Army. Bad.
That was going to be my next question. कि as a doctor, वैसे तो looking at these things is something that you are trained in, where you have that kind of mental state where you have the mental balance. But even then, a war is a war. When you are on a daily basis seeing the casualties like this, tell us a little bit about what was going through your head, what kind of questions came to you, and any particular incidents that you would remember that you would like to share.
Yeah. So, in fact, there was one incident which I would share is there was, we call it as FOP, forward bunker, जहाँ पे हमारा underground ये था, aid post था, RAP we used to call it, which is a forwardmost point of evacuating casualties, stabilizing and sending it back. एंड एक टाइम था जब मेरा नर्सिंग असिस्टेंट जो था मेरे बगल में खड़ा था, और हम, वो इतना छोटा एरिया होता था कि यू कांट गेट आउट व्हेन द एक्टिव शेलिंग इज हैपनिंग, काइंड ऑफ स्टफ. And this guy, for some reason, I don't know, he just came out of the bunker for a few seconds, and a splinter hit him straight on his chest, and he died in front of me.
Oh my God.
Straight up.
Your
It was
assistant.
my assistant, my nursing assistant. And yeah, और ये बहुत पहले हुआ. This happened exactly even before we started setting up our operations, kind of thing, in that location. Now, ऐसे मौके पे फिर क्या होता है कि you don't know whether you will be effective, because आप casualties को कैसे evacuate करोगे जब इतनी active shelling में आप बाहर भी नहीं जा सकते हो, kind of.
I know.
So there used to be a protocol कि, एक safe corridor period बनता है. In fact, this shelling stops for some time, and that is the time when you get active and you start looking for, people, and then evacuate them and kind of thing.
So tell me a little bit about this. I'm very curious. When you say shelling stops for some time, it's like some kind of agreement. How does that work?
So again, in the peace time, अभी अगर आप अभी जाओगे ना, तो वहाँ पे काइंड ऑफ एग्रीमेंट तो नहीं है, लेकिन एक प्रैक्टिस बन चुका है कि कुछ देर तक वो शेलिंग करके थक जाते हैं. Okay, that's the window period which we get, and then we start shelling. And when we start shelling, they don't shell, right? So that's a time when I actually get a lot of, time to organize things at the back end, kind of stuff.
Wow.
ये अभी अभी होती है. ये जब कोई ऑपरेशन नहीं हो रहा है तो बॉर्डर में शेलिंग होती रहती है. आपने सुना होगा, बॉर्डर पे शेलिंग होती रहती है, तो ये होता ही रहता है. इवन टुडे यू विल गो देयर, यू विल सी दैट. बट ड्यूरिंग दैट टाइम व्हेन ऑपरेशन विजय वाज ऑन, एवरीथिंग वाज chaotic, बिकॉज हम लोग उस एरिया में नहीं थे. हम लोग आगे चले गए थे, और हमारे वो नेचुरल सिक्योरिटीज नहीं थी. सो वॉट एवर वी हैड वाज अ मेक शिफ्ट अरेंजमेंट. तो वहाँ पे ऐसे कोई प्रैक्टिस भी नहीं था. तो वहाँ तो ऐसे था कि दिख गया तो दे यूज्ड टू शेल, दे यूज्ड टू शूट, काइंड ऑफ थिंग. एंड you must have read about Kargil. They were at an advantage, ऊपर से वो लोग, so it's much more easier to, shell from a higher level.
Yeah, right.
So हम लोग actually we were in the intense zone, kind of stuff. So and to answer to your question, when I see those troops, suddenly आप soldiers से मिलोगे, especially जिन्होंने ऐसे active participate किया है, और they switch on and switch off very easily, which is a marvelous, I would say, character, probably because of training, because
Hmm.
that's how it comes up.
The
It
toughness that they have been provided.
yeah,
Yeah.
it cannot come without that kind of gruesome training kind of. तो वो switch on switch off कर जाते हैं. I mean, I've seen people at the peacetime locations not gelling well with each other, but during the operations time आप देखोगे तो you'll be surprised. They gel so well, they support each other so well, and they give everything to them. So that is something which I witnessed very well, kind of thing. And Indian Army is famous for this. अभी तो और भी ज़्यादा, because of the attention is increased now. There are a lot of good movies which have come up. A lot of people are talking about this. Media has improved a lot. In fact, Op Vijay से शुरू हुआ था. Op Vijay was the first time when Barkha and all those people came in right on the front and just to shoot the soldiers there. तो वो काफी मिल चुका था, importance and all that stuff. So that
Hmm.
is something which is really appreciable. The training part is probably world class, I would say. World
That's
class.
awesome.
Yeah.
So the question that I have next is, you knew what you were getting into, but being at the front during a war is a completely different ballgame altogether. And especially when you see your assistant die right in front of
Yeah.
your eyes, that is very tough. What was going on through your head? Like, did it occur at any point in time? Am I doing the right thing, kind of thing? I mean, of course, serving the country is the best thing that you can do. But still, how about your family and everybody? What were they thinking about when you were at the front over there? That must be tough, right? I mean, tell us a little bit about
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. So, like I said, from Lucknow, we were straight away launched in JNK, and we didn't even get. Generally, ना training के बाद एक छुट्टी मिलती है, आप घर जाते हो, सभी से मिलते हो, hi hello, फिर then you go to your first posting. But यहाँ हम लोगों को time नहीं मिली थी. So when I left, to JNK, my father was actually very worried because उन दिनों में mobile phone nahi the, and there was no way to communicate. And once we reached there, we were not allowed to use civil phones, civil STD booths and all, because that can reveal your identity, locations and all that.
Right,
So
right.
he was actually worried, and he didn't get any information whether I've reached safely or not. And he was almost planning to start from Vashi and come there
Oh my,
without any kind of
information.
details of where I am and all that stuff. He was mentally prepared to start that kind of. So yeah, so it went really tough on the family during the time Operation Vijay and all that. But then third day I could finally call up, and fortunately that was resolved. But yeah, the problem with that, Ashish, is आप generally घर से बात करते हो तो दो तीन चीजें ही पूछते हैं वो लोग कि आप कहाँ हो, वो जो बता नहीं
कैसे?
सकते.
Right.
ओके, आप कब आओगे ये भी नहीं बता सकते हो. ठीक है, that's all.
किसी क्वेश्चन का आंसर ही नहीं होता.
Cancel. And sometimes you write letter, and many of my letters never reached because वो सेंसर हो जाते थे. उसमें कभी कभार एक आध वर्ड पकड़ लिया जिससे probably a strategic importance of this
Oh,
kind of thing. So many of the letters used to get censored right
oh.
at the army headquarters, kind of stuff. So
And you
yeah.
would not know what gets censored, or do you?
Oh, you never know. You will never know.
Oh, you never know
मतलब
what
आप
gets.
आप नहीं, आप चेक करोगे, मिला नहीं मिला, पता चला नहीं मिला, तो एज्यूम कर
समझ
लो
जाएगा
censored
कि
होगा.
वो सेंसर हो गया करके.
अगर थोड़ा ज्यादा ही कुछ सीरियसली आपने कुछ लिखा हो तो फिर वो आ जाता है आपके सीओ के पास. तो आपका सीओ बुला
Oh,
लेता है कि भाई
can
ये
I
क्या
guess
लिख
you?
दिया, तो तब पता चलता है कि समथिंग इज गॉन रॉन्ग. So and during the operation it was even more active.
Of
अभी शायद
course.
थोड़ा
Yeah.
बहुत it was okay because now it's peace time. But during operation it gets really vigilant, very very active. So
Hmm.
that is one. And second, as you said, जब forget army, even Grand Medical College में मैं जब था 92 में, you remember there was a bomb blast which happened in Bombay
Yeah,
in
yeah,
6 locations, and मेरा हॉस्पिटल ऐसी जगह पे है,
yeah.
JJ हॉस्पिटल, जो
Yeah, I know.
maximum casualties के. So
Hmm.
we did have that experience of handling mass casualties, mass trauma victims kind of thing right from first year of my medical graduation. तो मुझे इतना, I would say, shocking nahi laga. And probably that was one reason why I was mentally prepared to pick up the army role kind of stuff. तो इतना मुझे वो लगा नहीं था. हाँ, but in a very very unknown location like JNK में आप ऐसे ऐसे जगह पे जा रहे हो जहाँ पे civilization नहीं है, तो it becomes scary. I still
Exactly.
remember when I took the train from Mumbai to Jammu, and Pathankot के बाद the entire train was empty. Never ever seen a railway train completely empty. सिर्फ एक driver है और एक पीछे guard और एक मैं हूँ in uniform.
Oh my God.
So yeah, those kind of experiences do scare you. And when I landed in Jammu, it was a complete curfew. Nobody outside. Then my guys will come, and then military jeeps में आपको लेके जा रहे हैं kind of thing. So yeah, so वो जो environment होती है, that tests your mental strength. Even if you're technically strong, भाई क्या करना है, how to save a life, how to triage, whom to give priority on. But उस situation में it really tests your kind of thing. And I did have a very good experience. Initial few days, अच्छा खासा testing हो गई थी like how strong I am basically.
So before we move on to the next phase of your journey, anything else that you would like to share in those 6 months that you were there, that you think is critical that you should be sharing?
Yeah, so I think rather than sharing the actual details, I would say that life surprises,
Of course,
or
all the time.
life all the time. And मुझे ऐसा लगता है कि जब तक आप स्टेटस को चैलेंज नहीं करोगे, आप कुछ अनकन्वेंशनल नहीं करोगे, आपको ना वो सरप्राइज एलिमेंट ज्यादा सरप्राइजिंग नहीं लगेगी.
Correct.
There's a surprise which is routine and there's a surprise which is amazing. I mean, I've seen some places in India where of course civil people are not allowed, and I've seen some of those locations which are absolutely heavenly. इनफैक्ट एक लोकेशन थी बसंतगढ़ करके, अभी भी उधमपुर जिले में है, जहाँ पे रोड ही नहीं है. You have to
Oh,
walk. You have to walk 4 kilometers with all your thing and all. And I stayed there for a few months, and I saw the snowfall there. I saw the villages there. I saw the natural beauty there. मतलब ये सब नेचर अगर आप स्टेप नहीं लोगे, आप वो समथिंग यू डोंट डू एक्स्ट्रा और डिफरेंट, यू विल नॉट सी दीज एक्सपीरियंसेस. Secondly, I never dreamt in my childhood that I'll be able to drive a battle tank, or I'll be able to fire a medium machine gun, or I'll have my own French Beretta pistol allocated on my name. ये तो कभी सोच भी नहीं सकते. पर आज मैं जब सोचता हूँ तो ये सब चीजें इसलिए हो रही है क्योंकि वो एक स्टेप लिया गया था. And I would have just continued
consciously.
my routine. I wouldn't have probably one
Correct.
of those millions of doctors who are just in the ocean. But I took a little parallel different step, and so life surprises. You have to take that first step is what I would say. ऐसे तो बहुत experiences हैं, but yeah, the best was volunteering for Opvijay.
Awesome.
And then
Awesome.
yeah.
So 6 months you are done with Op Vijay. What is next?
So next was when it ended, and we were back into our peace stations. And army में every 2 years, 3 years postings change होती हैं. तो आप फील्ड में अगर हो तो 2 साल के बाद होती है, पीस में हो तो 3 साल के बाद होती है. और डॉक्टर्स के लिए भी ऐसे ही है रूल, बट डॉक्टर्स के लिए मोर फ्रीक्वेंट चेंजेस होते हैं. सो मेरा next posting was actually then applying that. I was in Ahmedabad, in fact, again an unconventional posting for a doctor in army. This was branch recruiting office in Ahmedabad.
अच्छा.
तो एक हम लोगों को ऊपर से चैलेंज दिया गया था कि गुजराती बच्चे आर्मी में जाते नहीं है, ये होते हैं कि ये फैमिली बिजनेस करते रहते हैं, दे डोंट लाइक टू हैव दिस काइंड ऑफ करियर ऑप्शन. तो हम लोगों को चैलेंज दिया गया था कि भाई आप लोग जाओ रिक्रूट करो, so we had a
Motivate
team,
them, encourage them.
motivate them, encourage them. And Gujarat was given to us, which is even more challenging. And then Narendra Modi was the chief minister then, so I got an opportunity to work with him very closely. He was very,
Oh,
very.
really? So you have met
Yeah.
him?
Yeah, I met him in his office. We used to have frequent reviews of this activity of how many Gujarati boys have got into army, how many of them reached the training center, how many of them ran off from the training center, came back. ये daily monthly reviews होते थे in chief minister's office in Gandhinagar. So I got an
Wow.
opportunity to see him and work with his team, with him closely for that next posting, which was 2.5 years kind of. And we recruited.
You have to talk about your experience with meeting with him, man. I mean, I did not know this part. Now that I know, I would like to know more about that.
I think as a person, he was very, even today when we see, he's pretty dedicated to and committed to the work. So
Of course.
uska, I think one of the things when he picked up was the employment thing, because unemployment was very high, structured unemployment, not business. I mean, salaried class, ये Gujarati बच्चे जाते नहीं हैं. They're not, on an average, they're not so well educated as the other states kind of. So he picked up that as a mission, and he picked up couple of areas of employment, and one of them was defense, because he always wanted Gujarat. एक बार एक बैच चला जाए तो then automatically वो cycle बन जाती है.
That is
So
true.
he wanted to crack that kind of stuff. And I still remember हम लोग आज भी जब आर्मी रिक्रूटमेंट होती है, रैलीज होती है, एक बड़ा सा पुलिस ग्राउंड होता है जहाँ पे 3 दिन का प्लान होता है, जब thousands of boys will come from different villages, and you make them run, and you make them do the medical examination, which was my area of doing it, and then selected people will go through. आज भी rallies होती हैं, but वो rallies manual होती थी. I still remember in the year somewhere, imagine 2003, Narendra Modi was the first one to bring in computers on the ground. Okay, he activated the National Informatics Centers (NIC). वहाँ से computers खरीद के वहाँ से technology experts को लेके आके the first digital army rally was conducted in Gandhinagar, all because of Narendra Modi. He said, ये आप manually करोगे बहुत टाइम लगेगा, बहुत से बच्चे डिसइंटरेस्टेड होके घर चले जाते हैं, मत
Hmm.
करो, कंप्यूटर्स यूज करो, you'll have better, and then you would also have lot of data to review ना कितने गए क्या है ना.
So
Then he
that
came
time,
to our yeah.
yeah, I was just going to ask you, at that time, did it ever occur to you that this man has the potential of being a Prime Minister of India?
No, no. I mean, I mean, I don't know about the positions, and I still don't think he was hungry for positions as such. इतना मैंने जरूर देखा है मेरे पर्सनल इसमें कि he was hungry for work, good quality work. In fact, those days also he started this संक्रांति के टाइम पे जो इन्वेस्टमेंट मेला होता है, जो इंटरनेशनल काइट फ्लाइंग फेस्टिवल होती है, he started during that time when I was there, and I witnessed that. So kind of he was addicted to work. He is still addicted to work, I believe. So काम तो मतलब I've seen good quality work, especially the where I was engaged kind of stuff with him. Of course, there were other things which also happened. Godra scam also happened during that time when I
Yeah,
was in
that's
Ahmedabad kind of stuff. But keeping that aside, not to comment on, but whatever I've witnessed as a quality of work, I still have that. So many Gujarati people who have got into army because of our efforts. They're doing well today. Yeah, they're going and they're motivating people back home. But थोड़ा कम है. I mean, it is still they still believe in their roots, that culture of joint families, not going out, not stressing much, kind of stuff. But yes, there is an improvement. Definitely,
so.
can see.
So, any specific incidents that you remember about his interaction that you would like to share?
Not really, but एक मुझे याद है कि एक रैली में कुछ तो पुलिस की परमिशन नहीं आई थी. I mean, because it's a very huge event. There are more than a lakh people in a ground, so there's a lot of security, and police has to be conducting a lot of things. So I remember एक बार रैली वैली सेट कर दिया था हमने, सब कुछ प्रिपरेशन हो गया था, but because of some clearance did not come from police, the rally was actually supposed to be postponed. ऐसे कुछ तो proposal आया था, and he did not agree to that. He didn't agree. He said, I don't care. ये rally बनेगा बनेगा, मैं आऊँगा खुद, मैं खुद देख लूँगा. अब when he says something like he is going to come, then the entire district police is going to be there, kind of stuff. So
Absolutely.
I remember I mean, in front of and in front of everybody, he kind of was very wild at the head of the security operations, and he said, "Rally, ये एक महीने पहले decide हुआ है dates. You cannot postpone it just because
Yeah.
some VIPs coming and some people are not available. Kind of no ways. ये तो बनेगा बनेगा, तो होगा." And it happened. It happened. And then और उनका एक और मैंने देखा है कि it's not like just a show kind of stuff that come and show your presence, motivate and go away. No, he takes the task to completion. और रैली का पूरा एंड तक उनको कितने बच्चे रिक्रूट हुए और नंबर जब तक उनके फाइल में उनके टेबल पे नहीं आता था, यूज्ड टू कीप आस्किंग क्वेश्चंस.
Oh,
इसका
okay.
क्या हुआ है kind of. So
Okay.
quite a dedicated person, I would say, when he picks up that kind of work. Definitely.
Okay. So, tell me a little bit about while you were in Ahmedabad, Indian
Yeah.
Institute of Management. Did you have anything to do with that? Because I think I saw
No.
one picture of yours.
Yeah. So that's a part two of, I would say, post army kind of thing. So Ahmedabad में जब थे तो हम लोग ऐसे ही used to roam around the city, and I had come from Samba, which was a very very remote and first time we saw civilization, glamour, glitter, big this and good eating places. And so हम लोग, me and my wife was pregnant that time, so we used to roam around Ahmedabad city, and IIM देखा हमने, तो IIM देखा तो यार एक दिन तो इसमें जाना है, कैसे तो करके we'll do something there, probably a dream, at that time. And this dream got successful in the year 2018, which is, almost, I would say, 12 years after I left army, kind of thing.
Wow.
So when I got into corporate, and the next challenge I took is corporate में चलो डॉक्टर है तो क्या हुआ. I mean, what people used to say is, MBA करोगे नहीं तो आप corporate में survive नहीं करोगे. You cannot become senior manager or AVP. I've been a vice president since last 7 years in multinationals and corporates. I got an opportunity to get into IIM Ahmedabad. They had a nice senior management program for 1 year, and I got into the walls of Ahmedabad. IIM
We will
Ahmedabad.
get to there when we get to your journey. So, we will talk about IIM as well.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about after your 2.5 years of stay in Ahmedabad,
Yeah.
what was next assigned to you from
So
Army?
so my entire commission in army was short service commission, because They don't give permanent commission immediately to people who join from outside, like you said, non-AFMC medical graduates.
अच्छा.
So yeah, तो आपको कभी तो fourth या fifth year में if you wish you can apply for a permanent commission and then give another SSB interview, another screening process,
Oh, you have to
another
go through the whole thing
yeah,
again.
you have to go through all of that again, but little relaxation in because you already know some of the army culture and processes. So
Correct.
in the test, a little relaxation, but everything else happens like the way it happens in the first recruitment. And then if you're granted commission, then you continue throughout your career, which is 20 years. But I
Oh,
didn't choose that. I never went to army for a full lifetime kind of plan. So I went for short service commission. So वो मेरा complete हो गया. 2004 I completed my short service commission and I came out. So I got
okay.
released from the Indian Army. And उसके बाद 2 साल मैंने orthopedics की यहाँ पे मुंबई में नेवल हॉस्पिटल है कुलाबा में.
Okay.
So I got attached there. I did my training in orthopedics there, and then I decided to join the corporate sector.
Okay.
So yeah,
Any specific reason you picked ortho?
mechanics. I mean, I'm still a carpenter. I would say घर में अभी भी कुछ ना कुछ. I love carpentry. I don't know. मतलब, do something. कुछ cut करो, कुछ build करो. ये वो. Probably I would have been a better mechanical engineer, like my father said, kind of thing. Yeah. So वो अभी भी है. So ortho is something which excited me because you're actually doing macro level job.
Yeah.
Not like just giving drugs and you don't know what's happening. People may
Right.
improve, may not improve. यहाँ तो अब दिख रहा है आपको. You're correcting something. You're correcting a deformity. You're actually helping
Right.
people walk around, which is a very, very important
Yeah.
aspect of human life kind of stuff. So yeah, somewhere that subject motivates me a lot. So I did that for 2 years
Okay.
kind of thing. But never intended to be a complete orthopedic surgeon and start practicing. Again, same thing. I don't want to join the entire ortho force. I mean, I know there are shortage of doctors, but मेरा मतलब वही है कि I want to do something else. So I was more interested in getting into corporates. I want that craze, what is this corporate? Why are people 9 to 5 kind of thing earning so much of money and having great, weekends and also, growing well. I've seen people grow well. फिर insurance में एक आया था कि insurance was the first corporate to start absorbing doctors as full-time employees.
Right.
So
Right.
we want doctors, which surprised me because doctors क्या करेंगे? That was a question in my mind. Doctors क्या कर सकते हैं?
Well, it will help them do their business properly, right?
Yeah,
If you have
yeah,
more knowledge, then you can do
yeah,
your business well. And that
yeah,
knowledge will come from the doctors, right?
yeah. So I've seen some of the bigger insurance companies in the world who really have an independent medical unit with doctors in it, and they
Mhm.
are dedicated only to a research work to come up with how do we really estimate mortality, how do we establish this person is going to live for so many years of life probability. That really excited me. पता नहीं
Mm.
कौन से एरिया में बैठता है. It falls into statistics to some extent. It falls into we call it as health data science. वहाँ पे
Right.
बैठता है. I didn't have any kind of credentials on those lines, but it excited. It definitely excited me. बोला यार ये करते हैं.
Okay.
Let's do this.
So right after you are done with your ortho training, you were sure that you want to join corporate.
Yeah.
So, so what happened after that? Where did you join, and how was your experience with that?
So the very first job I did was actually in another big thing, Reliance Industries Jamnagar.
Hmm.
Okay.
Okay.
The biggest grassroots level oil refinery in the world today.
Well.
Right. Yeah. So उनका जो CMO था, he kind of saw me somewhere and we had a chat and he liked me a lot. He said, आप आओगे क्या? Can you come down to Jamnagar? We have a huge township. We have a huge refinery. We want some trauma surgeons, orthopedic qualified doctors who can come and set up processes for occupational health services.
I see.
हाँ, तो मैंने बोला अच्छा ये एक और अच्छी चीज़ है. चलो good. This is really good because what happens in township and all, you don't have that facilities the way
Yeah.
you have it in other
The
areas. So
cities, bigger cities, yeah.
you can take it as a challenge, and because it's the entire kingdom which is with you, there's no external influence. You can build and create designs of occupational health centers and processes and all that. So I took up that. I went there for a year in Jamnagar, stayed there for a year, helped him build a couple of occupational health centers and managed some occupational health centers for almost a year kind of thing. And that was also good because huge township. I don't know whether you have ever got a chance to go to Gujarat. I mean, half of Jamnagar is Reliance kind
Oh,
of thing.
I have never been to Gujarat, although it is very close from Bombay, but unfortunately, I have never had a chance.
Yeah, it's a big township. So I had a good time there for a year. Before then, the insurance thing cracked in, 2006 में जब insurance का opening हो गया, and I wanted to come back to Mumbai because most of these companies are in Mumbai, insurance companies and all that. So
Oh,
one
okay.
year of Reliance work, and then I shifted out, and then I started working for insurance.
Okay. So work-wise, what was the difference between working for Reliance and then working for insurance? What was the major difference that you saw, and if that was one of the biggest reason that pulled you to insurance?
So Reliance was kind of, in fact, they were replicating the models in Indian Army. मतलब आप देखोगे तो उनका जो इवन वहाँ पर भी कैजुअलिटी इवैक्यूएशन वाला ड्रिल्स वगैरह है, प्रोसेसेस है. इनफैक्ट रिलायंस इज ओनली कंपनी विच हायर्स एक्स सर्विसमैन एज सिक्योरिटी. आई मीन 100%
Oh,
सिक्योरिटी पीपल इन रिलायंस इंडस्ट्रीज आर एक्स सर्विसमैन.
or
तो वो
ex-service.
कहीं ना कहीं वो एक ये है कि वी वांट टू हायर डिफेंस गाइस. And
Uh,
even for doctors, then my CMO, Chief Medical Officer, felt, I can fit well and build in this process. So wo, I would say it was not a very different job, but it was similar to what I did in army, but in a very smaller scale and a much more structured scale. Of course, no
okay.
operations, nothing, right? Insurance was a completely drift. It was a complete change, a complete change. And the वहाँ तो new jobs, right? From you start from scratch, because what excited me, like I said, was they wanted doctors to come in and start building certain processes which will improve business, especially
Correct.
selection of risk and all that. तो ये नया सब्जेक्ट ही लगा, होता है ना हम लोगों की, when you pass from fourth standard to fifth standard you start getting physics chemistry का flavor. तब तक तो सब कुछ साइंस में बंडल था, बट अब आपको मिल रहा है तो यू गेट एक्साइटेड ना समवेयर. तो ये एक नया सब्जेक्ट था मेरे लाइफ में, एंड इट इज कनेक्टेड टू मेडिसिन समवेयर.
Correct.
So I took that plunge. Yeah, that was the motivation. And of course, as I said, I wanted to come back to Mumbai because everything was in Mumbai. My relatives, I never stayed with my parents after graduation. तो मैं चलो ये थोड़ा बहुत सेटल भी होना था ना कहीं ना कहीं. तो that factor was also there, but it was more to do with it's a new career option which is opened up for doctors.
Okay.
That's
Now,
how.
and since then you have stayed with the insurance
Yes,
industry, right?
yes,
So
yes.
tell us your journey so far in the insurance industry. What were the challenges that you had? How did you overcome them? What are some
Yeah,
of the incidences that you would like to share? Let's talk about
yeah.
that.
So, like I said, I'll start with आज भी अगर बोलो कि एक इंश्योरेंस कंपनी में डॉक्टर क्या कर रहा है, तो आई विल से 9 out of 10 पीपल विल नॉट अंडरस्टैंड. बोलेंगे ये पता नहीं, मतलब ये क्या काम होता है, दे विल हैव क्वेश्चंस. So
Right.
this is still a niche and unknown kind of, not so popular kind of career option, but I picked it up because I got exposed to it and there was an opportunity. ICICI Prudential Life came up and absorbed me straight away. They said we want you, and I was very clear. मेरे को एक्सेल शीट नहीं आती थी,
Hmm.
कभी देखा भी नहीं था, कंप्यूटर के सामने कभी बैठा नहीं था. ओके, एंड कॉर्पोरेट वर्ल्ड का कोई एक्सपीरियंस नहीं. I don't know what is HR. I don't know what is marketing. I don't know any of those departments. And so I was very clear. I'm just a doctor, and I've got this kind of experience. You'll have to train and mold me, and I'm
Yeah.
interested. इतना मैं जरूर बताऊंगा. I'll give my 100%.
Okay.
But it was fantastic. I mean, when I joined, my first employer was ICICI Prudential Life Insurance, and then Tata AIG Life Insurance. तो इधर मैं जब गया तो, like you said, the challenge is just to adapt because all the other people who you see are MBAs or finance experts. अब ये subjects ही अलग हैं. तो ये लोगों को मेरा काम समझना और मुझे ये लोगों का काम समझना
That's a
is
challenge.
इन एन अनस्ट्रक्चर्ड एनवायरनमेंट. कोई ट्रेन भी नहीं कर रहा है. ऐसा भी नहीं कि आपका ट्रेनिंग करिकुलम है, 6 महीना ट्रेनिंग दे दिया तो आपको सब
Right.
कुछ समझ में आ गया, ऐसा भी नहीं. सो ट्रेन ऑन द जॉब, लर्न ऑन द जॉब, मीट पीपल एंड सी हाउ दे वर्क काइंड ऑफ थिंग, एंड देन सी हाउ दे अप्लाई एंड सी हाउ द बिजनेस वर्क्स बेसिकली. तो वो
Hmm.
कहीं ना कहीं वो बिजनेस कैसे काम करता है ये मुझे अपॉर्चुनिटी मिलने लग गई along with my work and on the job training kind of stuff. So it excited me. Initially, I did have very raw questions. कि भाई HR का कोई काम ही नहीं है, to have that kind of thing, feeling that HR क्या कर रहा है, सिर्फ recruitment होती है, salary होती है, resignation होती है, that kind of. But then slowly when I started interacting with them, then when they used to say people engagement, तो तभी तो simple English लगता था, but जब काम देखना शुरू किया तब पता चला, yeah, this is really good, yeah, this is making difference, this is, people are becoming more smarter by this kind of activities. So I actually started getting corporate flavor, more of learning for me than really contributing.
Hmm.
Initial 4 5 years when I was in Indian insurance, then I moved to a multinational called Swiss Re Insurance, which was again in Mumbai, but it was a Asia Pacific role. तब वहाँ पे मेरे को actual exposure of the good quality work in insurance sector for doctors. I
Okay.
started getting that, yeah.
Oh,
फिर कहीं ना कहीं मुझे लगा कि I think the best way to do this is learn management also, because if you're not a trained manager, then you are still contributing, but इतना holistic नहीं हो रहा है. So that's where the thought process started coming in. Should I do an MBA now after 15 years of work experience? फिर challenges थे कि भाई बच्चे तो होंगे मेरे साथ. How will I compete with them?
Right.
Kind of thing. So I was like contemplating that idea. It was always there. Meanwhile, IIM Ahmedabad came up with a course. They said, we'll bring in a senior management program for 1 year, which is considered equivalent to an MBA. And we are picking up only people who have not done management in the past, or they've been into corporate for 10 to 15 years of work experience. So it's an
That was
opportunity for
perfect.
them.
Uh,
Perfect. Kind of nicely packaged, and ऐसा लग रहा था मेरे लिए बना है, right time पे भी आ गया kind of. Unfortunately, they didn't have entrance test. Otherwise, entrance test में पता नहीं क्या हो जाता kind of.
for you, I know you, man. There'll be any entrance test. I'm sure you will crack. So that dream also came true to study at IIM and get that experience as well. Now, tell me, during these years with insurance, what status quo did you break? As you mentioned that you are always about changing the norm, basically, right? So tell us a little bit about that. Where did you see that, and how did you change that?
So the batch of 186 people attending senior management program, there were only 6 doctors.
Wow.
So वहीं पे वो शुरू हो गया कि, और वो बाकी 5 डॉक्टर्स थे, वो हॉस्पिटल एडमिनिस्ट्रेटर्स थे. So they have to run a hospital, so they want management experience.
Oh, that's why they wanted
which
the
is
business experience.
which is
Makes
still
sense.
kind of makes sense from a
Of
traditional
course.
perspective. मेरा completely अलग था. I don't aspire to be an CEO of an insurance company, but I want to learn what is he doing.
Uh-huh.
I want to know how the business works, kind of thing. I want to get the flavor of these subjects. कि जब मार्केटिंग बोलते हैं तो मार्केटिंग का मतलब क्या होता है, मार्केटिंग कैसे किया जाता है, and when you're talking about, let's say, operations, and what happens in operations, kind of thing. So again, that I would say passion to learn into that. And I was very scared because हमारा 1 साल के बाद एग्जाम होने वाला था, and उसमें पास होने से ही सर्टिफिकेट मिलने वाला था. So entrance exam तो नहीं हुआ, लेकिन exit exam was there, and I was pretty scared. पता नहीं पास हो जाऊंगा नहीं, because these subjects are new, and at that age, when you're you can't read so much the way you used to read during your childhood days. उतना grasp भी नहीं होगा. But yeah, I broke that status quo. I got a very good grade. In fact, B plus मिला मुझे, which is like the top 30 percentile में आता है ये, and learned a lot. Did a good project, in fact, which was completely out of the way, and now it is really applying and helping me a lot. Because आज जब मैं industry में कोई conference वगैरह करता हूँ, I sit with business leaders and I share my ideas, and they are at par with each other, kind of thing. So I understand the language now. When somebody says a strategy, I understand what is strategy, and I can contribute to that.
Right.
I can definitely say, आज भी Aegon में मैं आया हूँ, Aegon Life में I'm currently heading the underwriting here. I've come here only with a purpose to bring in innovative solutions. And the CEO is completely, they're very good people. They all come up to bring in new solutions in market. So now I understand that language very well. ये लोग
Okay.
क्या बोलते हैं, कैसे ये लोग सोचते हैं, kind of. That has come up very well now. Yeah. That's
So,
phase 2.
right. So tell me one thing. As a doctor, do you ever feel or do you ever miss being close to your patients?
Absolutely. I do miss, and that's something which comes to me every day. And like I said, I've taken a little detour in the career, but I'm going to go back to the pavilion. You have
Oh,
to go
you
back
are
to the
going to go
pavilion.
back because that was going to be
Absolutely.
my next question. What does Mukund Kulkarni thinks about future? I mean, of course, you can only dream, but as the pandemic has taught a lesson to everyone, ki, bhaiya, you have no clue what is going to happen tomorrow. But as a human being, you still dream, right? So tell us a little bit about that. What do you think of yourself in the coming years, where you want to be and how you're going to get to that? Like, what is your plan?
So Ashish, one thing I've realized, बाहर से जब देखते हैं कि लगता है कि somebody has grown, and you define growth in terms of, let's say, designations, the name of the company, the size of business, तो लगता है कि this guy has grown well, but personally उसको पूछोगे, has he really grown himself? Maybe a question mark, and that's what is happening. I tried doing corporate. I mean, I'll take back, the time in 2006 when I decided to join corporate. तो तभी जो था कि भाई मुझे इसमें ये करना था, glamour. Today, I don't see that glamour in corporate anymore. For me, of course, for me, because probably I've gone through that thing now, experiences and all. So what is next for me is definitely to work on a role which is in sync with my strengths. And if I really see, my strengths today are split into three categories. Of course, one is the medical knowledge, which I want to, and I'm itching to. It's just like a couple of more years, and I will be back into practice. Let me tell you that kind of thing. The second is, right in the beginning, I said I was a shy introvert kid, and today I do train, I do conduct workshops, I do help people with solutions, and not counseling. It's not counseling. I have also tried counseling, but it's more of business solution, so consulting kind of stuff, right? So I would definitely harp on that as well. So that's an additional, I would say, competency I've got due to this detour kind of stuff. Second is that kind of thing, which I will definitely like to do. And the third one is, obviously, I still have a dream to start something on my own, and
Oh,
that's,
okay.
yeah, there will be something I will do on my own kind of thing, which will be either in the consulting firm or in this, or something which is very unique, which people would love to, see the value.
Hmm.
Most
Interesting.
probably it's going to be around these areas as well, kind of thing. So ये तो करना है अभी, next मेरा वही है. Maybe 5 years down the line, if you meet me, I'll be into those three zones which I was talking about.
Okay, so tell us a little bit about your inspiration and your influence in your career, whatever you are today. किसका सबसे बड़ा हाथ है? I mean, family का तो होता ही है, but anybody particular that you would like to talk about?
In fact, I would say family का इतना नहीं है मेरे इसमें,
Oh,
because
is it? Okay.
fortunately or unfortunately, my parents were not into that kind of level where they could influence me on the professional front. Yes, they've always
Okay.
been supportive. They've always
Okay.
been supportive
Okay.
kind of
But
thing.
not influential on that. Okay.
Yeah. So my influencers have been outside, kind of thing. Uh, Abhi, like I said, to some extent, when I retrospectively view, I did land up into army accidentally, but uh, it was not a big plan, right? It was not a planned movement, but a lot of inspiration came from the way army works. And I still remember a couple of my bosses in army. Uh, they are still my inspiration. I mean, it's not about the work they have done; it's about the way they have approached towards work,
I
the
see.
discipline bolo, yeah, the sochne ka dang bolo. And the second inspiration is a couple of my bosses in corporates. In fact, there was an American boss in Swiss Re, and I'm still very much in touch with him, and I do ask him a lot of questions about
Good.
whether this is good, bad, right, wrong kind of stuff. The
Good.
way he answers, the way he has guided me and all that. Though it was very difficult for him because he's not a doctor, he's been into insurance world a lot and he's traveled all over the world. He's worked in almost all continents in insurance, so he's got a rich insurance business experience, but not the domain medical or underwriting experience. But he does guide people very well, and so it's been a good inspirer for me. And the biggest one I would say is non-human. I keep reading a lot of things. I keep watching a lot of TEDx, and I
I
get
see.
inspired by people who do something. One common trend I would say is anything anybody challenges status quo and does something different from what 10,000 people can do. I think that's an inspirer for me.
Of course, no
Definitely.
doubt, no doubt about it. So now in all this, you do have kids, right? So how are your kids getting influenced by you, and what do they say about their dad?
So I have only one daughter, and she's currently doing law in OP Jindal Global University second year in near Delhi, Sonipat. And a lot of people used to say both father mother doctors, so probably she would also pick up medicine. And we never kind of influenced her. In fact, we made a point that we should not influence her.
Okay,
कभी कभी naturally हो जाता है ना घर पे इतना
naturally हो जाता
डिस्कस. इनफैक्ट माय एल्डर ब्रदर इज आल्सो अ डॉक्टर, सो वो कभी कभार होता था कि डिस्कशंस में नेचुरल अनइंटेंशनल इन्फ्लुएंस भी आ जाता था.
है. Yeah,
और
right.
हमने वो पॉइंट किया है. आई मीन वी टेकन इट बाय पर्पस दैट वी शुड नॉट इन्फ्लुएंस हर, लेट हर
Okay.
चूज हर ओन करियर काइंड ऑफ थिंग. सो yeah, she's pretty. In fact, when she was born, I was practically in my last posting in army, so she doesn't remember much of the army stay or army culture kind of thing. So उसकी वजह से, in fact, 3 years back, I took her to my regiment in Patiala and spent some good 1 week time there so that she could understand what is army and what. And then she's really proud because those people who were there when I was in army are still there, and they recognized me without me recognizing them
Oh,
after 14 years. And
awesome.
she saw that, she witnessed that. And she also saw me firing pistols even today with almost 95% accuracy. तो उसको वो pride जरूर है कि
Good.
father ने कुछ अलग किया है life में, unconventional कुछ किया है, kind of thing. And she does tend to learn a lot of things from those experiences and some of those things. But yeah, I mean, she's free and she's chosen law, and now she's touchwood doing well. So pride जरूर है, but अभी influence ऐसा नहीं है. So she's been an independent person, is what I would say.
Okay. All right, Mukund, we have come to the end of our show. Before we formally end, anything specific that you would like to share that we might have missed and you would definitely wanted to talk about that?
I think I think we've covered most of the things. There are still a lot of stories and all that, but instead of being specific on those, I would say that my life has been a little I would say unconventional. And then अगर I say a list of unconventional careers देखोगे तो people tend to be scared of taking that parallel step. They tend to
Right.
take the next step kind of thing. But parallel जाना डरते हैं लोग. मेरा ये जरूर रहा है मेरे एक्सपीरियंस की आई डोंट थिंक सो देयर इज एनीथिंग टू गेट स्केयर्ड ऑफ देयर इज नथिंग राइट और रॉन्ग इज व्हाट आई हैव लर्नड
Absolutely. I would agree to you on that one. Yep.
या एंड मोस्टली आप पैरेलल स्टेप्स लोगे तो लाइफ सरप्राइजेस यू बेटर देन probably the steps in series which you take kind of. So this is what has been my experience. So when I talk to people who tend to have this kind of state of mind कि करना क्या है आगे, I would generally tend to say don't plan too many things. Don't clog your gray cortex with a lot of experiences and do's and don'ts and guidelines and rules. Instinct आपको क्या लगता है? अगर आपको लगता है ये आपको अच्छा लगेगा, passion, you want to do it, ask yourself once. Just go for it. Don't worry. The very few people have failed taking parallel routes is what I feel. So that's what I would like to say to all the audiences. And of course, I'm not saying I have been a successful person, but definitely the experiences have been rich.
Absolutely. Thank you very much, Mukund. This was a wonderful, wonderful experience for me, and I'm pretty sure for our audience as well, to listen to your story, to listen to your journey, and to get inspired on doing something different than what the rest of the world tries to do. So thank you very much once again for sharing your life journey, not just with me, but all our audience. And we only wish good luck, best wishes for all your future endeavors. So with that, thank you very much once again, and good night out there in India. And for the rest of the folks, have a wonderful weekend. Thank you very much, Mukund.
Thank you so much, Ashish. Thank you.
This is Bharat FM.
बजेगा भारत, झूमेगा भारत.
ये है भारत FM.
बजेगा भारत, झूमेगा भारत.